Section 3.7 is on page 237. Talks about combining functions. So the algebra of functions has two main properties to really apply. One is simple algebra, such as addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. The other is very important, a bit more challenging, and that deals with quotient, with the composition. Okay, I can't get that. Okay, that's fine. So the process is really straightforward. I'm not going to spend a whole bunch of time on it, but I'm going to do at least one of each so you could see it. So if you're adding two functions, you end up adding the y's. F minus g of x, you subtract the y's. F times g of x, you multiply, and f divided by g. Literally straightforward. When they say here on page 244, number 2, here's f of x, here's g of x, find the sum. Well, that's really simply f of x plus g of x. And the first is 1 plus x squared. The second is 3x squared plus 5. Now, let me work a bit slower and write more clear. And I suggest you start with parentheses around those so you don't mess up the minus or the division. That would be 1 plus x squared plus 3x squared plus 5. That would be 4x squared plus 6. Okay, I'd like to look at number 6 next. Number 6, we're looking for r minus w applied on x. That's r of x minus w of x. We say that's operated on x. The function's operate, and that would be 9x squared plus 8x minus 5 minus x squared minus 7x plus 3. If you distribute the negative n, and that would be an 8x squared plus 15x minus 8. If I look at number 12, it says find f minus g of x. F minus g of x is actually f of x minus g of x, and that would be 3x minus 5 over x squared plus x minus 20. That's f of x minus g of x is 2x minus 1 over x plus 5. That would be 3x minus 5. If I factor x plus 5, x minus 4, 2x minus 1 over x plus 5. And the LCD is x plus 5 into x plus 4. So you multiply this with x plus 4 top and bottom. And that turns out to be 3x minus 5. And if I FOIL this, that will be 2x squared plus 4x plus 8x minus x plus 7x minus 4. Distribute the negative n, minus 2x squared minus 7x plus 4. Altogether, I'm looking at a negative 2x squared minus 2x minus 1 over x plus 5 into x plus 4. A bit of work, but, I don't know, kind of fun depending who you ask. Now I'd like to look at the next set of problems. 14, f times g of x. So f times g of x is really f of x times g of x. And f is actually 5 minus x squared. It's right there. The 2, I gotta work on my 2's. And g of x is right there. And all what you have to do now is FOIL. That would be 30 minus 5x minus 6x squared plus x cubed, and that would be x cubed minus 6x squared minus 5x plus 30. And if I take number 22 and I apply the same rule on it, let's see. They want g times t applied or operated on x. That's g of x multiplied by t of x. Well, g of x is 4x minus 1 over x minus 6. And t of x is x plus 7 divided by 2x minus 3. And if I multiply those out, well, nothing reduces. Yep. So the denominator is x minus 6 into 2x minus 3 and 4x minus 1 into x plus 7. And that's pretty much it. Now division is slightly different. Division is a bit more of a work. If I take w divided by z operating on x, that's w of x divided by z of x. W of x is right there. And if I write that down, that is x minus 8 into x. I'm factoring that automatically. X plus 1 over x plus 6 into x minus 3. And since I'm dealing with fractions, isn't that divided by z? And what is this? This is x minus, let me see, 4 and 4 don't work, 8 and 2. X minus 8, x plus 2. And factors of 24, 6 and 4. X plus 6 and x minus 4. And instead of dividing fractions, didn't we learn a way around it? We multiply by the reciprocal. That will be x plus 6 into x minus 4 over x minus 8 into x plus 2. And those cancel out. And I'm left with x plus 1 into x minus 4 over x minus 3 into x plus 2. And another example I want to work out. If I take t divided by 4 operating on 4, that is t of 4 divided by w of 4. So I go on the side, I say, okay, what's t of 4? That is 3 times 4 divided by 4 plus 11. That is 7 over 15, 12 over 15. And if I divide by 3, that's 4/5. So this is 4/5. And since you're dividing, I'm going to write it as a fraction. If I take w operating on 4, w of 4 is the square root of 4 squared minus 7. That's the square root of 16 minus 7. That's the square root of 9, which is a 3. So divided by 3 over 1. Instead of dividing fractions, we know that we need to multiply by the reciprocal. And that turns out to be 4 over 15 as a final answer. Now, a massive idea that we need to get out of the way. Something I need to show you. If we have y equal f of x, and if I pick 2 points on this, if I pick x equal a, wouldn't this point be a f of a? And if I pick another point, if I move some distance h, and I pick another point a plus h, wouldn't that be a plus h, f of a plus h? If I find the slope of the line, isn't the slope of the line y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1? Isn't the slope of the line f of a plus h minus f of a over, wouldn't these two cancel out? and you're left with h. Slope of the line has a lot of applications. We use it in math as a slope. They use it. We have tons of applications in, depending on the field. In physics, we call it velocity, we call it change of rate, we call it, in economics, we call it change in cost, change in profit. A main name that we use for it in math is difference quotient. Do you see that those are the same? What's the difference quotient? It's nothing more than y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1 gives the average rate of change. The average is a straight line. Anytime you're giving an average, you're assuming that people are spending the same amount, or driving at the same rate, or breathing at the same rate, whatever that is. Anytime you use a straight line as an approximation for an actual curve, you are taking the average. Example, if I say it took me 2 hours to drive from Pasadena to San Bernardino, and the distance is 60 miles, then you say, well, let's see, 60 miles divided by 2 hours, that's roughly 30 miles an hour. That's average. You're thinking, if I was to drive for 30 miles per hour for 2 hours, I'll cover that distance. But that doesn't mean that I traveled 30 miles per hour all throughout. It might be I was driving very fast, then I hit traffic, I slowed down. It could be many things. So, average rate of change gives you a good idea, and it's used in calculus heavily. We want to apply that here. Difference quotient, I don't expect you to memorize that. I'll provide that. When it says simplify the difference quotient for this function, and I want to start with number 34. So what we're trying to do, we're trying to figure out what is f of a plus h minus f of a all over h. Well, let's break that to pieces. If I take f of a plus h, wouldn't you say that is, and again we did this on the last homework, and that's why I separated those, wouldn't that be negative a plus h squared plus 7 times, instead of x, a plus h plus 3? So I need to work that out on every problem. Well, what's that? That is negative a squared plus 2ah plus h squared plus 7a plus 7h plus 3. That is negative a squared minus 2ah minus h squared plus 7a plus 7h plus 3. If I replace this by it, minus f of a. What is f of a? Well, f of a is, replace x by a, is negative a squared plus 7a plus 3 all over h. That would be negative a squared minus 2ah minus h squared plus 7a plus 7h plus 3 plus a squared minus 7a minus 3 all over h. That would be, those two cancel out, and those two cancel out, and those two cancel out. Okay, I can do better than that. Come on. And that would equal negative 2ah minus h squared plus 7h over h. And the goal in this whole process is to always cancel that h. That h has to cancel out every single time. And you make sure that it cancels through the algebra not through you canceling that out because you know it should cancel out. There it is. $36 is next. And again, if I want to find C of A plus H minus C of A over H, I need to figure out what those are. So I'll go on the side and say, okay, well, let's see. What is C of A plus H? Here, the C function, this could be cost, this could be many things, only depends on one unknown. So the 14 is there, minus 5, and X would be replaced by A plus H. So the lower the degree is, the quicker you could get this. That's minus 5A minus 5H. So this is 14 minus 5A minus 5H minus C of A. What's C of A? C of A will simply replace this by A. That will be 14 minus 5A all over H. That would be 14 minus 5A minus 5H minus 14 plus 5H over H. Again, I'm going to move this to the right a bit. And that's going to be, those two cancel out and those two cancel out. Negative 5A over H. Negative 5 H over H. That was, no. 1 minute. I canceled the wrong thing. Those two cancel out. So I'm left with negative 5H, that one right there, over H. Those cancel out, and there it is. I'm going to stop this video here. I'll pick it up in a minute.